Hello and welcome back to the Back to Business podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Annis, but today I'm joined by, drumroll please, my co-hosts, Shia Baum and Mike Kassab. How's
Hello,
it going,
Sarah.
guys?
How are you? Michael, good
I
morning.
am good.
Good morning. How are y'all doing?
Good. I'm on the West
Yeah.
Coast today.
Complain.
Yeah, it's like a good early morning for you.
It is. You know what? I had planned, every time I come here, I'm like, okay, I'm going to set my alarm for 6 a.m. just in case I sleep. And then at 3 a.m., I jump out of bed because it's like already 6 for me in my head, no matter what. I jump up like a rock. I told Sarah on the return, I'm like, yeah, just book the 5 a.m. flight. I'll be up anyway.
Thought it was a horrible idea, but I think it'll work out in his favor.
I'll be up no matter what.
So yeah, we just booked a 5 a.m. flight to go back to Michigan for the summer.
Oh, nice. That's going to work
Yeah.
out well.
The summer,
I
how
mean-
exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. I mean, like the kids are gonna be crabby on the airplane regardless, and I'd rather not get stuck in traffic when we land.
I hear you.
So
At least
Okay.
there's no East Coast, West Coast jet lag stuff. They'll come home, they'll nap, they'll be good as new by the afternoon. You,
Right.
on the other hand, will be more tired than you've ever been. So
yeah.
But that's good. You
Straight
come
to
back, we get to do this in person.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
We'll
luck
get
getting
forward.
us all in person.
live from the Back to Business studios.
Yes.
Love it.
We'll
Yes,
have to
yes.
get like a neon light or something with the show name just to really
Yeah.
commemorate
And-
that moment.
And I want like a big just microphone that just comes down. Like, yeah. So guys, hey,
Oh, perfect. Wow, you were so prepared with that prop. So what is
it's just
that?
a pair of socks.
Right.
I
Well,
feel like he set that aside before for that moment too. But yeah.
yeah, this feels scripted all of a sudden. We did talk about mini mics this morning, though. So we'll make something happen. Don't you
Like
worry.
small versions of me.
Exactly. Like a
That's
pin or
terri-
something.
Where was I for this conversation? What?
I'm sorry, Mike, M-I-C, not M-I-K-E, but I
Oh.
love it. I love it.
All right. What are the
The
topics of the
only-
day, Sarah?
That's the only time where talking is more confusing than texting, I think. Like when you text
Yeah.
potato.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, let's get into some good conversation.
Let's do it.
So something that we are aiming at with this podcast as a whole is combating misinformation that we see online. So a topic I want to bring up today, images and reports showing upscale cafes in Gaza have been circulating online. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but they look very different from what is often portrayed in mainstream coverage. So this highlights how powerful selective information can be, not just what's shown, but what gets attention, gets repeated, and ultimately shapes the narrative that people believe, which is the biggest issue here. So the question is, who controls the narrative and how does that influence what people believe to be true?
Yeah, Shia, why don't you start here? Because this is something new for me, but I feel like I have seen these, but I didn't know that this is becoming like a big thing now.
Yeah, I'll jump into this one. I think that, and I think we referenced this in a prior podcast. I think that as AI becomes more and more mainstream, no one's going to believe anything anymore that they see. I think that AI is going to have the exact opposite effect, and it's going to drive in-person interaction to be a requirement in order for there to be any trust across, really for anything. I think that no one, I mean, the amount of misinformation out there and fake videos and fake images, you can't believe anything you see anymore unless you see it in person. Going to the Middle East multiple times and seeing reality versus what's, the perception online is a true wake-up call. I wouldn't trust anyone with an opinion who hasn't been there. Literally nobody. Because their basis for all of their information, the source of information, 99% of it could be completely, it's not just that it's like a true story and then people exaggerate. It should completely made up. I mean, that the image that was going around with the cafes, there's another image with, kids putting their hands through a fence waiting for food, but someone was on the other side handing them the bowls. Things like those, the misinformation is something that I believe is going to lead to in-person interaction. And it's a huge problem because a lot of people just believe everything they see. It's a massive, massive problem. And I don't know the perfect solution, but I think ultimately, as an optimist, I think truth will always win. And it's really on people like us to get the truth out there and do everything we can to spread truth. No matter, like, it doesn't even matter what your political views are, how you see an issue. The bottom line is people should be working off of facts and not fiction.
Yeah, and I mean, we've all heard the quote, "Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see," and I think that that's like a 200-year-old quote, right? And now, like, I think it's believe none of what you hear and none of what you see is very close to becoming reality. But yeah, that I, mean, I see so many things. I'm doom scrolling all the time on Instagram, right? And it's getting before it wasn't that hard to tell the difference between AI uh, and a real video, you know, maybe to an older person who just sees these videos, but to someone who's kind of like hip to how technology is changing, you know what to look out for, like if the fingers are like deformed or something. But like AI fixed that in a matter of like 3 weeks. Like the fingers don't deform anymore. You know, the dance moves make sense. So you're like, is this real? Is it not?
What are you
So
watching?
Yeah, I gotta
just
see your, algorithm.
I'll
I'm
find it. But
concerned.
do you all remember that first AI video that came out? And it was such a big deal of Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Oh.
Okay, look up that video, and it was just like AI created Will Smith. He's eating spaghetti, but like you can, it's obviously AI, but like at that time, it's like, wow, a computer made this video. And now they made one so to show like the contrast between AI from like 4 years ago and now it's actually Will Smith eating spaghetti, and there's nothing that differentiates it from a real life Will Smith eating spaghetti. I mean, I don't know how he looks when he eats spaghetti, but I assume that's how he would look. Um, but it's getting crazier and crazier. I think there was a rumor that Shai and I were talking about before with when the prime minister of Israel had gotten killed
You actually
by
messaged
a
me.
rocket.
Remember that? You
Yeah, and I
messaged me
messaged him
saying, "Is
like,
it true?"
oh my god, and then they started releasing all these videos, and the internet is divided. They're like, no, this is AI. No, this is real. No, his fingers shouldn't be that spread apart from each other from holding a cup of coffee. And it's like, we just don't know what to believe anymore. There was a time when you could bring video evidence into a courtroom and it's like, all right, there's the video evidence. What's going to happen now in that part of the system where if someone brings in a video and someone's like, hey, well, this could be AI, so we're going to have to throw this, toss this evidence away.
Yeah, I think it's the number one issue facing society. I think that countries, bad actors, even good actors, people have a way of shaping a narrative now just by getting a video to go viral, where the majority of the people have no idea whether it's true, but unfortunately, many people believe what they see still. And I think you have the ability to really tell a story that's just not even based on reality. And I don't know I truly think the answer is going to be in person interaction. I think there's going to have to be some system where people say I was there, and people trust that individual. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Because if this is where it is today, like to Mike's point, right, the Will Smith video, imagine where it's going to be in 6 months or a year. I mean, I don't think our minds can comprehend where it's going to go because of how powerful it is.
So powerful, and it's getting better way too quickly. And I think the biggest issue is the repetition at which you see these types of videos. Like everybody's algorithms is going to be a little bit different, but the second you engage with something, you're going to see that 100 times over, that same kind of messaging. So if you're engaging with these fake narratives and fake news stories, you're just going to see more of it, and it's going to really impact how your feeling is about the matter. So even if you find out the truth, you've seen 100 other videos that are not based on facts, not real, whatever. It's
And
so
then
harmful.
you take that to the next step, right? So 100 million people watch a video, 1% of those people are deranged. 1% of 100 million
Yeah.
people, right? That's a lot of people, right? You're talking about a million people now who potentially go to attack any minority, right? Because in this video, someone said they should, or in this video, someone said, and it may be a small percentage, but a small percentage of such a massive number because of the reach with these videos is terrifying.
Yeah. And it does, it becomes deadly. I mean, it sounds dramatic, but these false narratives that are online are a lot of times what feed into
Yeah.
tragedies happening.
Yes, for sure. For sure. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
I just think it's on people like us to put truth out there and scale truth and allow people to at least put doubt in their minds about what they're seeing, what they're reading, what they're hearing, so that, maybe they think, okay, yes, this looks right, or yes, I want to believe it, but in the back of my head, I should verify. I think we need to start creating some form of seek the truth before you kind of form an opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Um, and on the other side of it, before we move on from this topic, I think Shia and I are, we started Tents of Two Brothers to like promote peace and to kind of just build up lives and just communities. Not just here, but all the way on the other side of the world. I think everyone would love to see upscale cafes in Gaza one day. When that rebuild happens, and there could be peace and things like that. So maybe this is more of a glimpse into what's to come instead of looking at something negatively today.
Sure.
I hope
I like
so.
that.
I hope so. No,
Ended
I
on a
think
positive note.
I think Mike's right. No, Mike's right. I think ultimately, I think there are a lot of people out there who kind of have a common goal, and you have a very vocal minority who are influenced by social media, who have beliefs that are not aligned with Western values, and unfortunately, today they dominate the discourse. But it's on people like us to change that.
Sure. The next thing I want to jump into is in regards to the stock market and the awesome week that they've had. But before we get into that, Mike, I have a very specific question for you because I know you're a gambling kind of guy. And so the stock market makes me think of this. Were you betting on horses over the weekend?
So I did place a couple bets on horses.
Okay, how'd we
And
do?
we did bad, and I knew
Oh,
it, and I knew the horse that was going to win, and I didn't bet it. Okay, do you know why? Your daughter's not old enough, and Shia's only got boys. But there's a song out called "Golden" by like this K-pop like cartoon group. Okay,
Top Demon Hunters.
yes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's called "Golden." I listen to this song 87 times a minute. Okay, my
Yeah.
kids are playing it all the time, and the horse that won was Golden Tempo. So
Should have, next time we're betting on the songs that are popular, obviously.
exactly, yeah,
Can I
yeah.
tell? Can
Yeah.
I
Oh,
tell? Can I tell a quick Mike betting story?
God.
it's up to Mike.
Well, I'm not
Is it
asking Mike. I'm
was
asking
it a
you, Sarah.
Oh,
winning one?
fine by
Yeah,
me.
okay, good. I'm not asking Mike. Mike and I are at a Tigers game, right? I won't use the numbers, but I actually just repeated the story the other day because I almost had a heart attack, and Mike is cool as a cucumber. So before the game, Mike bets a large amount of money on the Tigers winning, and the Tigers go down 1-0, and Mike doubles down. Tigers go down 2-0. What does Mike do?
Was
Actually,
down.
it was 4-0.
No, that we got to 3-0 in the bottom of the fourth.
Okay. I bet more. Like what
You
I've
you
already made
did
my
every time
choice. I've
every
already made
time they
my
went
choice of
every time
who's
they
gonna
went
win that
down.
game.
Yeah, every time they went down, Mike bet again. Okay.
Yeah,
Are there
the
any
odds get better.
drinks in this equation
Sarah,
or
this man is
Impossible.
cool as a
Impossible.
cucumber. He's
Well,
holding
okay?
I
have
was
a
also
drink.
eight. I was also 6 or 7 drinks in, but still cool as a cucumber.
He was
This guy,
counting. Sure.
I was having a heart attack. I was sweating. This man, have a drink. What are you stressed about? Javier Baez gets up. Man has not hit a home run in 7 years in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was
Mike
like
turned,
$100 million into his earnings with Detroit without a home run.
yeah. And Mike turns to me and says, he's going deep to left. The man hits a grand slam and the Tigers go up 4-3. When I tell
That
you
was
the whole
awesome.
section
That was
was going
awesome.
crazy,
Yeah.
the whole section was going nuts.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
mind
well,
you, and this is after I just like went off on Javier Baez. I don't know if he speaks English or not, but he heard a lot of words from me, and I hope he didn't understand them, or if that was the reason why he scored the home run, and I'm glad he did understand them. So
He he
we're
definitely
lighting a
got his
fire for
point
him.
across. He
yeah,
definitely got his point across.
All right. Well, in Mike we trust, even though the horses didn't pay off over the weekend. But I was curious because I'm like, this is a huge day. Mike's got to be getting in on this action. Anyways, back to our regular scheduled program. U.S. stocks had their best month since I think 2020, hitting record highs as companies continue to report strong earnings. So at the same time, businesses are dealing with rising costs, ongoing global tension, pressure across key parts of the economy. So really amazing that this happens amidst all of that that's also going on in the background. If markets are going up but costs are rising, which signals should businesses follow? I'm gonna start this one off with Shaya, I think.
So is this a really good topic? It's quite fascinating. I don't think anyone really knows the perfect answer, or else they'd be quite wealthy. But if your question is from the business owner's perspective, right? I think the industry matters a lot, and I'll tell you why. So, for example, I think someone in the services industry today or a law firm, right, who may be debating whether or not to increase costs, and they say, okay, I can utilize technology to drive down my costs. Where I think that's different than say a trucking company where it's okay, where do I see demand going in the next 12, 24 months because I need to add a lot of assets right in advance. It's not like you could just snap your fingers and get a truck and a trailer and a driver, right? So there's kind of that level of projecting what you think is going to happen as a business owner. The rising costs are obviously quite problematic, but the industry I think really drives your decision. I think kind of the underpinnings of the economy are worrisome with consumer debt very very high today. Consumer credit card debt is very very high, and the average person going to the grocery store is having trouble paying their bills. So you kind of see an underlying issue. Flip side is companies are really confident today to grow because of the fact that stock prices that are an all time high. So I'm hoping that once it looks like there's going to be some kind of peace agreement coming up here in the Iran war, I'm hoping that once that happens and energy prices come down, and they should very, very quickly, that those two things will kind of come to like an equilibrium where you'll start seeing, the average person be able to pay their bills a little more easily as inflation drops with the price of energy coming down and companies having the confidence to invest in their growth.
Sure. Well said.
Yeah.
And we
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, no, no. The floor is
That,
yours.
it was like a half second of silence. I was like, oh, she's waiting for me. Um, so Shia deals with way more businesses than I do, right? And I kind of always um, let Shia handle the business side of things, but just as a regular guy, right? Um, I think the markets are always like looking forward and so far in advance when like businesses are kind of just like hoping to survive today. And I'm thinking more small businesses, right? I'm not thinking of these big law firms or trucking companies or anything like that. But I don't think it's a clear indication of people's comfort level. I think people are still stressing. I think people are still having a hard time at a big scale. So stock market doing well is very good for like I guess feel good. But the reality of it is like things also need to change here. It's we're starting to price ourselves out, and that's a problem.
Yeah, first of
Sure.
all, he undersells himself like crazy. This guy's one of the smartest business people I've ever met in my life. So ignore his
Thank you.
first part. To Mike's point, it's almost like there are two different economies, right? So you have the large companies saying, "Hey, my stock prices are at an all-time high. Let me, reinvest that cash. Let me draw down on my availability to invest to grow." And then you have the second economy, which is the average person saying, "Hey, my rent is through the roof. My groceries are so high. Fuel prices are high." Mike did a better job of explaining what I was trying to say. But basically, what I'm saying is that hopefully, with energy prices coming down again, those two things can intersect. So, when energy prices come down, the average person's prices will come down. They're more confident to go out and spend. And at the same time, if the stock market continues to rise, companies will be investing to grow their businesses, in turn, you know, leading into higher wages, people being able to, more comfortably pay their bills. So, I think that kind of both these things happening together are like the perfect, the perfect climax to what I think has been a very stressful time.
Sure. It definitely has. And I think we talked about the gas prices rising, but I was doing a road trip over the weekend and I saw 4.89 a gallon. And I was like, am I in California? What's going on? So Shay, I know you're on
Did
the
you
West
see
Coast.
California?
So I would guess eights.
Yeah, I think it's like 650, 670. I heard yesterday I saw something in the New
Yeah.
York Post that there was one gas station at $10 in California.
That is
At that point, I'm
crazy.
walking, like,
But you know what? It's like California is the perfect example of two economies, right?
yeah,
Where it's like you have a lot of billionaires and a lot of people. How am I gonna buy food tomorrow?
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that with a peace deal, energy prices drop and kind of both sides grow at the same time. That's what I'm really hoping for.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully that deal with Iran and everything comes to fruition sooner
It's
rather than
close.
later.
It's very
Yeah.
close.
Yeah. Um, so on to a next topic that I think you both will want to weigh in on. Social casino apps. Mike, any experience here?
Hmm. I dab a little bit here and there in the
Okay.
casino apps. Um, a little
Is
bit
this
more
hold
than
on? Are these casino apps with the fake money or the real money? Because Mike's never
They're
done the
no,
fake money
they're the
one.
fake. I know. I was gonna say, they're the fake money casinos. So instead of users spending real money to buy, they're buying virtual chips, and then they can keep playing. And for some, say the spending adds up really quickly. It almost makes me think of like Candy Crush or any of those games. Like
hmm
obviously not a casino game, but you start playing, you get kind of addicted, and then you're buying extra lives, and you start spending obscene amounts of money. I don't know. You both have kids. I don't know if they're into Roblox yet, but I know that's a somewhat similar related type area where you just start throwing money into something in this virtual world. And you never actually get anything tangible that you're holding on to. But the industry has grown considerably. It's an $11 billion business, and it's built entirely on user engagement and in app purchases without offering any real money payout. So it's a really fascinating new emerging space. And so the question is this just smart business? Or are these companies crossing a line? And where do you kind of draw that line for companies to engage in this kind of space?
Yeah. So when the virtual reality headsets came out, the Oculus, yeah, that was the only way I was going to remember the name. When those came out, I remember getting one, and I was going through the apps, and they had a casino in there. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, let's just see how this is. And you're in this whole virtual casino. You walk in, like you got to walk up to the desk, and then that's where you can buy chips. So this is kind of giving me that vibe. I'm sure that um, it's progressed since I played it. This is years ago, right? But you buy the chips, and it's all through Meta. So you have your Facebook account, and you're playing against other Facebook people, and like you can buy a cigar at the table for however much it costs, and then you buy in
Ooh, you
chips,
got
and
Shia's
then
interest.
Hold on, you're paying. But hold on, you're paying your real money for this stuff,
you're paying real money for the virtual money. So you're
and there's
paying money for a good time. It's like going to an arcade, but it happens to be
You
virtual.
don't have to go
okay.
anywhere.
But you don't have to go anywhere. Yeah, you're in the
It
comfort of
But
just
your own home.
you also don't come out with any physical prizes.
No, but if you get mad, you can take your chips and throw them at someone.
Okay, that there's some
Yeah,
upside there. Yeah,
yeah, it helps.
yeah.
But and then you're just interacting with these people that are all sitting around like a dice table, for example. A craps game with all these
How old were
people.
you? How old were you when you did this?
Like 26.
Okay, so you're saying
No,
you were
no, I was
just 10
almost
years ago?
30. I know I was almost 30. This is like 4 years ago.
okay, but you're saying that there are kids who are like 14 playing the same game.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There was kids. There's adults. I mean, it's a virtual reality headset. You're not going to have many like 50
30-year-old
plus
men
people figuring it out. No, 30-year-old. I think is the sweet spot for technologically
asking
inept.
It's not
asking
Mike,
for a
it's not
friend.
weird. It's okay. It's totally
He-
normal that you did this.
Shia
You were
just
sitting.
shames me. He likes to
Hold on.
shame
I
me.
You were
know.
sitting.
He's
You were sitting at a table with a bunch of 12-year-olds throwing the chips at them.
No, there's other 30-year-olds.
Okay.
yeah, this is
But
how misinformation gets spread, okay? We are now spreading rumors.
so here, just to give you an idea, I bought $500 in real money's worth of chips, right? So I was like
What?
I was a 200 millionaire at this table, okay? And like everyone was going crazy, like, oh my God, how do you have so much money?
Hold on. You were in the high roller room on the virtual reality?
No, virtual reality does not segregate. Everyone's at one table. If you have a dollar or if you have 200 million, you're treated the
Fascinating.
same.
So you spent
Love that
500
for
real
VR.
dollars.
Best
500 real
500 I
dollars.
ever spent. It would have cost me so much more than that at a real casino. So
That's
back
fair.
to the topic, right?
That's one
Yeah,
way
Back
to
to
sorry.
the
look at it.
topic. So
So you
so
saved
now
money.
are we creating a gambling problem here by getting these people to play these games that they can't win real money in? Um, or or are we stopping them from something worse where they can actually lose real money? Um, in
But
a
you're
casino
losing real
setting.
money anyway, right?
But
Yeah.
not I mean, if I'm getting $200 million for $500, right? And I'll just use
Okay,
that
yeah.
number because that's the example we
You're
used.
losing less. Yeah.
It's different. And then you create like this like fantasy of being able to gamble that much money so that when you go to a real casino, $500 isn't really much to gamble with, right? You're like, oh, this isn't $200 million. So that's kind of my mindset around it. Because I'm a high roller. So if I gamble, I want to do it for a lot of money. I don't want to just go in. I don't want to make it just like a habit to do just because.
That's an interesting perspective. I like it. You're
So
like,
for
"Well,
me,
if I can play this person in VR who's gambling with hundreds of millions of dollars, but only spend 500, perfect."
Right. And I don't
so
have to
one
get in
quick
my car and drive down there and valet my
I
car.
got a question. Does this mean we should shut down all your real gambling apps and you'll just stick to this and save money?
So that is a possibility.
Okay.
And it's a good idea.
Okay.
I think we start with you and then we
Done.
cancel mine out.
Okay. And done.
There's less potential upside. You know, like,
There's
yes,
no
you get to
upside.
play
There's no upside
this
other than he gets to throw the chips at
new
the kids at the
character.
table.
Oh,
No,
but there's less downside because he's not gonna lose
You gamble
potentially
less.
as much, but he also
Right.
is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes people just want to do it. It's a fix, right? You just want to do it, get out of your
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
So, you
So
know, it,
here's my two
if
cents on
if
this
that's the
one.
way to do it, then
No, that makes sense. I see where you're coming from. Here's my two cents on this one. For me, if you're over the age of 21 or 18 or whatever the legal age, right? You do whatever you want. Fully support. It has no effect. My problem is with children, really, where it comes to the underage, where I think these games, like we limit kids, we don't let them buy cigarettes. We don't let them buy cigars. We don't let them buy marijuana. We don't let them do so many things because of, they're not fully developed to make those decisions. And my problem is that many of these games allow children to play. You keep hearing these predators like Roblox where kids are, taking their mom's credit cards, spending ungodly amounts of money because and that's to me where it's no, I don't think a kid should be able to sit at that table. Yeah, for Mike, who cares, right? He knows exactly what he's doing. He can make a choice. It really on any topic when it comes to an adult making a decision, I'm a like capitalist at heart. Like you want to do X, everyone is on board with that. Your choice, right? Completely your choice. Do whatever you want. But for me, when it comes to children, that's what scares me. Like if we can limit so many things because kids don't have the ability to make the right decisions, why don't we limit this? Like, why are kids allowed to go on these games and get addicted at such a young age? Right? Like you hear these stories, it's terrifying to me. Like to me, like using these games is the exact same thing as giving kids cigarettes.
so Donald Trump made a comment the other day about the real casino gambling apps. I don't remember exactly, but he basically called them the devil. He said you should be ashamed of yourselves for what you've done. And as someone who has gambled, and I've lost like quite a bit of money on gambling, I agree. Right? It's something I do enjoy to do, but it's also something that I agree that shouldn't be this available to everyone, right? So two things can be true. Someone who enjoys doing hardcore drugs can say that they enjoy doing them, but they could also believe that no one should have access to them at the same time. But it's not just gambling apps that do this. Every app on your phone is designed to keep you locked
Yep.
in, to engage, to scroll, and to just whether it's gambling or whether it's porn or whatever it is, right? Um, it's I think we need to limit more how often can you get stuck on something, to where it turns into an addiction kind of versus just trying to eliminate one thing at a
But
time. Because
Mike,
if
but
you're just going
Mike,
to keep taking pieces of the pie out, there's not going to be any pie left.
are you referring to adults or children or both?
I think both. I mean, children more. I see my children when the TV's on, but adults too. I mean, how many times have you gotten sucked into the phone without even realizing, hey, like, where did these 2 hours go?
But then where do you draw the line, right? Because who are they to tell me what I can and can't scroll or gamble on my phone, right? Like you start getting into a very slippery slope when there is somebody out there deciding what I can and can't do as an adult with the right to make a decision. To me, there's a clear differentiator between adult and child, right? For adult,
Yeah,
it's your
for sure.
choice. Like if you choose to gamble, right? It's your money, it's your choice. You can make that decision, right? Like you work hard for your money, and that's something you enjoy doing. The same way someone else may say, "Hey, I'd rather go buy an expensive dinner or drink an expensive bottle of wine." That's your choice. To me, it's where we already limit so many things for children. Why don't we also limit this?
Yeah.
Like that's I
Yeah.
can't wrap my head around why can't we put restrictions in place that kids should not go down that rabbit hole? It's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it starts at the house, right? I mean, how many times have you just thrown something on for your kid just to be quiet while you finish up some work, right? So it has to
Yeah,
start at home too, because we're opening up that door for them to get stuck on these things.
yeah. I just think there has to be some regulation when it comes to children. That's my
Yeah.
opinion. And
Yeah.
I think there should be
I agree.
zero regulation with adults. I think that adults should be able to make their own choices.
Imposing like an age limit on the apps or an age minimum
Like we do with
to
everything
prove
else.
you're 18 or older. Yeah.
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 Literally,
Yeah.
why can't a kid walk into a store and buy a pack of cigarettes? What is the difference between that and giving them access to hardcore pornography so that they're locked in their mother's basements and never know how to date a woman or a man or whatever, right? It's like, why are they getting access to things that in a million years we would have never given them access to the comparable,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, we
Yeah.
didn't have that then, but it's crazy to me. It's like regulation is just behind technology. We're destroying kids are getting destroyed from such a young age. They have access to things that in our lifetime we could have never imagined seeing, and they have it in the palm of their
Yeah.
hand. It needs to
Yeah.
be restricted.
And I think the studies have been done on how these apps kind of manipulate people's behaviors and thought processes and things like that. So I agree with you. It just needs to be looked at more. I think once enough people start caring, and it's not just a headline real quick, just because of the lack of news that day. Um, it has to start at the house. All parents need to be on board for something like what you're saying to happen and to be impactful.
Why don't we start something that we get 5 million parents to sign off on? We want some legislation. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can pass it state by state. I know on like a lot of states with pornography passed laws that you have to be over a certain age. I don't know if it's 18 or 21 in order to access it or whatever it is, right? Based on your location. Based on it's state by state. Like there's no reason why we can't do it in Michigan, where if you're under the age of 18, you can have access to certain applications without parental consent or without, parental oversight. These stories continue to happen. There are predators online. Like to Mike's point with the Oculus, I'm sure now it's not the Oculus anymore, or whatever it is, kids having access to gambling from the age of 10, like that's ridiculous to me.
Yeah. Yeah, we're starting those habits way too young.
Okay, but
I
we're
do
not just
agree.
going
I
to talk
think
about it. We're going to do something about it.
let's do
Shia,
something.
So
just
Let's act on
curious,
this.
how do you know different states offer different ways for you to get onto these websites?
Oh, one of my friends told me. So, asking
Yeah.
for a friend.
Sure, sure. Asking for a friend here.
No, but
I
I
am
mean, a lot of states have different restrictions in general. Like, look at gun laws, right? Look at gun laws. So, gun laws in New York, you can't. It's almost impossible to carry a gun, right? It's very, very challenging. Whereas in Alabama, it's right. We've always restricted things, but no kid can go buy a gun, right? In any state, like no kid can walk into a store and buy a gun. Why are we so restrictive on so many things? But yet when it comes to children having access to all these things on their phones, it's like it's a free for all. It's the Wild West. So action steps, since we don't just talk about problems, we solve them. I think that we should put together a group, and Mike, we could start just in your community, Sarah, with your community, with my community, we should put together a group and just have numbers where we lobby for legislation to put something in place that restricts children's abilities to access these apps without parental oversight. I think every iPhone should come built in with parental controls that the parents set up for their kids, and parents can choose how much, what restrictions they want to have in place.
sure. I say
All
this
right. We'll
now
we'll
as the
work on
mother of
this
a
next week.
very young child that I'm happy I don't have to make cell phone decisions for anytime soon, but I think a flip phone is gonna be the only option for her for a while.
I
I say
agree.
this now. Well, we can come back like 10 years from now and see where we're actually at, but the iPhone for a kid is just terrifying to me. Just having
Yeah, I
so
agree.
many things.
Yep.
at your fingertips. But I know that's just the world that we live in. And kids get cell phones younger and younger. Before we leave this topic, the VR goggles, Mike, do you still have them?
They're somewhere. Yeah, I haven't used them in God knows how long, but they're
All right,
somewhere in the
well,
house.
when you pack up and come back to, Detroit for the summer, I
You want
want
to
you to
try
bring
it?
those. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
thinking we
Okay.
could start an episode with some VR goggle action.
I want to see Sarah
Okay.
throwing chips at the people next to her at the table in the casino. So do you actually throw, like, do you use your
Yeah.
hand? Like,
So
how does,
yeah, you have a hand. No, I'm sorry. You don't. The sensors sense your hands, right? So you can
so
go grab your
you go like
stuff.
this?
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
And you just boom. And it doesn't have to be chips. So you can buy like a cigar, like I said, or you can buy like a rubber ducky, right? And these are like your good luck charms in front of you at the blackjack table, for example. And if the dealer gets a 21 on your 20, you can just start throwing things at the dealer and they just take it. So sometimes like I do want to do that at the real casino because like how dare you? Okay, I finally got a
that's
20, and now you want to flip a 5 on your 16, right? So so it lets you live out like your your dark fantasies, I guess, if you will.
that's a great point because it's awesome if you are just, you leave that in the VR world, but if you go to a real casino and then you think that you can behave that way, like, you're opening up a whole new can of worms for yourself.
But to
Well,
Mike's
if
point,
Tashaya's oh, sorry,
you
yeah.
go. No, you go first, Mike.
Well, I was gonna say to your point of signing me out of all the apps in the casinos, that might be just a way to speed roll the process of just getting kicked out entirely.
Yeah, but you see, but no, but I fully support. Like, I firmly believe that, like, as an adult, if that's an experience that you feel that your hard earned money is worth, it's worth spending your hard earned money on that. That's your choice. I have no problem with it. The same way other people, right? Like, different people have different habits. Some people want to spend it on golf. Some people want to spend it on food. Some people want to spend it on gambling. All good. But I just, that the children thing is where I draw the line.
Yeah,
For me, it's do
yeah.
whatever you want. It's your money.
Think do whatever you want, just don't go into a real casino and start throwing your chips or your rubber duckies at people.
No, Sarah, here's the thing. When you're playing at the table that Mike's playing at, you could literally do whatever you want. I was with Mike in a casino. I was with
Sorry.
Mike in a casino once, and he gets treated like royalty.
But I mean, I treat them nicely too. I thought you were
He
gonna
does.
make up a story about me not treating them well.
Never.
I'm very
Mike treats
nice. I'm a
everybody
good
well.
tipper.
Mike treats everybody well. Mike treats everybody well
Oh, no
wherever he
doubt.
goes. Wherever he
No
goes, it's
doubt
a
about
credit to
that.
him. Actually,
Thank you. Thank
it's
you.
a credit
Thank
to
you.
him. Mike.
But if
Likewise.
he's
Mike.
at the high roller table, I'm at the low roller table. I don't know if they even call anybody that, but you'll find Sarah over
We'll
there.
we'll sneak you
$10
in.
bets.
I may
Perfect.
I may or may not have taken him away from the table. Let's just say they didn't like me. They loved Mike.
China wasn't gambling. There's nothing to like with a non-gambler in a casino.
I
Well,
did get them to comp cigars to your account though. I added some value.
That was nice. That was
Yeah.
nice.
right. Well, VR goggles are the next sometime in the future. We'll see. We'll see when that happens. But last topic for today, and something that we focus on a lot here as well with Firefly advocates. In regards to wrongful convictions in the justice system. There was recently a story about a Manhattan judge who overturned a murder conviction after a man, Harry Ruiz, spent 25 years in prison for a crime he says he didn't commit. So he was convicted in the early 90s, based largely on a testimony of a 13-year-old eyewitness. Based on a recent review, found that prosecutors failed to disclose key information, including $17,000 in payments made to the witness's mother, along with evidence pointing to another possible suspect. So the conviction has now been vacated, raising serious questions about how the case was built and what the jury was told. So obviously, we're going back quite a bit of time, but a horrifying story to hear about, a large payoff being made, going off of just a 13-year-old's eyewitness accounts. So what should matter more in a courtroom, a convincing testimony or all of the evidence that they have at hand? And I know, Shia, this is something you could probably speak on at length, but your opinion on this?
Yeah, so this is something obviously Mike and I are both very passionate about. Mike
Yeah.
will hate me for saying this, but he has donated huge amounts of money to help people who have been in this position. Um, Not just money, time, clothes, everything. He's been very good to people who have been in this position. So, but getting to your answer, this is something that is a huge, huge problem. And I can go for a really long time on this topic, but just kind of higher level, the biggest issue is it really starts from when they're charged with the crime, and then as you go through the system, it gets more and more challenging to get someone out. So if you have one crooked detective or crooked prosecutor, and generally speaking, the majority of the people wrongfully convicted had public defenders who are overworked, overwhelmed. We've gotten 2 people out of prison so far on wrongful convictions. Both one of them, he met his public defender for the first time day before his trial for murder. Literally, he told me the guy walked in and said, "Hey, which one is Dwayne?" That's how well he knew his lawyer. And no lawyer can defend the client, right, when they know nothing about their case. And once you get into the system, getting out is a lot more challenging. And then it comes down to, okay, what do you do to compensate someone who lost 25 years of their life? And when they're in the system, the stories that I've heard firsthand from people that are there, it's not just, it's not a country club. It's not club fed. People who get convicted of murder or armed robbery or things of this nature are going to real prison. They're not going to a camp, and it's borderline torture. We're doing everything we can to fix it, but the answer is that the system needs to change. There needs to be a huge change in the system, both on sentencing, on probation, on parole. The First Step Act passed under Trump's first term was a really good first step towards solving this issue, but it didn't do enough. And there needs to be, in my opinion, there needs to be consequences for the prosecutors and for the detectives who are found to have lied to put someone in prison. I think that's the only way. I think the whole concept of immunity needs to go away. If there's evidence that shows that you were negligent, I'm not saying you made a mistake, but if there was negligence, there need to be charges against the people who wrongfully put people into prison. That's the only way the system changes. And the real challenge with these cases are, okay, you find that the detective lied, or they didn't turn over evidence that they paid the only witness's mother, right? What about every other case that detective had? Or that prosecutor had? Clearly, they don't play within the rules. So now you're talking about 25 years for someone who's prosecuted thousands, tens of thousands of people. Do you have to legally reopen every single case? Do you overturn every conviction? What do you do in that scenario? It's just not manageable. And I think the only answer that I've come up with is there need to be consequences for people who do this intentionally.
Yeah, this is shy, like, and Sarah, one of those things that regardless of, like, we talk about politics a lot, regardless of what your politics are, right? This should piss you off no matter what. We are each on this earth for such a short amount of time, and knowing that a third of the average person's lifespan was spent, inside of 4 walls, right?
For
It's
something they
just,
didn't do.
that could be me, that could be you, that could be him, right? And there's it's a lot deeper than that, right? If you really want to get down into it. But to what Shia said, well, kind of, you're leaning towards, like, the prosecutors have so much power, right? And then it's always about wins. Every movie you see, I'm not in courtrooms a lot, but every movie you see, it's all about the prosecutor having a perfect record and how, like, they don't want to mess that up. But me, just an example, if I'm looking for a place that, I don't know, sells hot dogs, right? I'm going to go on Google, and I'm not going to trust every five-star restaurant. If I see one that's like 4.7 stars, I'm like, okay, like, maybe this is a good spot. And I don't know if you guys are like that. Like, I just don't trust all 5 stars. There's something fishy there. Um,
Suspicious, yeah.
yeah. So having a prosecutor with a perfect record is also suspicious. Like, I would much rather than be rewarded for getting it right than having to get a perfect record. I don't know. I think that part of the system needs to be fixed. There's a lot more pieces to it that need to be fixed. But with Fireflies, we're seeing a lot of things, like a lot of gaps in how these things are happening. This is the whole system. This is the third of our government is the judicial system, and there's, like, big cracks that we're exposing. Um, and like what Shia said, if you find one mistake, does that mean every other case that has ever had this person involved, that this person's been involved in, does that mean that those all need to get reopened? And how many
It
of those people are innocent? Because in prison, no one ever did anything, right? But now with all this happening, there could be some truth to that.
Yeah,
but you have to
and
then
it's
question the
there's
validity.
there's so many flaws within the system. It's like, where do you start, right? So you have, okay, you have all the wrongfully convicted people that are there that you want to get out. You have the whole parole probation system where it's like, once you get out, the odds of getting off probation are almost zero because you and I couldn't stay off probation. You jaywalk, you're back. It's like, okay, so then it's like a system to put you back. And then you have the juvenile issue where we're taking juveniles for offenses that instead of giving them some form of rehabilitation or opportunity, we're throwing them into jail. Then you have it's so overwhelming. So you have to almost isolate, okay, what do I want to focus on and how do I try and change it? So for us now, it's younger people, right? Changing the course of their lives, giving them opportunity early on to avoid getting into the system in the first place, because once you get in, getting out is very hard. And the wrongful convictions is just when you hear the stories, people always ask me, what percentage of people in prison do you think are actually innocent? And every single day that I'm dealing with this, the number keeps going up in my head. And I'm like, this can't, and there's actual innocence. And then there's just the draconian sentences because people didn't have the right representation, right? And to me, those are very similar. You
Yeah.
could have done something wrong, but that doesn't mean you should have gotten 25 to life when someone else got a year and a day, right? So those two things can both be true. The whole third strike system to me is asinine. Third strike, so you get a draconian sentence. The third strike should matter on what was the third strike for. Was the third strike for shoplifting a third time because you didn't have money for food? Or was the third strike for armed robbery where you kidnapped and shot someone? Like, those are two very different scenarios. There shouldn't be a blanket rule. So this is a very obviously a topic that we're very passionate about. We could spend weeks talking about this, but we're spending a lot of time, money, and effort to try and change the system.
Fighting the good fight. I love it.
Every day.
Every day. All right, guys. Well, I think we could wrap it up here for today. And I'll drag you both back on screen next week.
Same time, same place.
Same time, same place. And eventually
Mike,
all
when-
together.
Amen.
What were you gonna ask me?
When are you gracing us with your presence in person?
TBD.
Okay. Whenever you have time for us, you'll let us know. We'd love to see you.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. At the beginning of the episode, flights had been booked, and now it's TBD. So
It's a negotiation,
I'm
Sarah.
offended, but
It's a
that's okay.
negotiation. He's from Iraq. Everything's a negotiation.
The flight it has been booked, but it could still be changed. It's been changed 3 times so far,
All
but the
right.
booking is in place.
Look,
So
whatever
only
you say,
only
Mike.
3 times. You're right on schedule.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing
Yeah.
good. This love bug season is not coming to an end, and it's taking a toll.
Back to the
Ooh,
love
send me
bugs
a video
again.
of the love bugs.
You okay? You
I
asked
want to
for
see.
it.
I'm curious. I've never seen them before.
I want to see
Okay.
that also.
Okay.
Yeah, send us the
I'll
video.
send it. I'll send it. It's really funny because like you have the little love bug, which I assume is the female, and then the big love, and they're just trying to fly in different directions. So instead, they just float because no one can
Oh,
can
cute.
decide
Hey,
on where to fly.
I know they're like
Natasha,
a nuisance, but they sound precious.
can our famous, world famous, and best producer Natasha have the video of Mike?
Shout out Natasha.
Shout out Natasha. Exactly.
Natasha.
Can we if Mike sends the video, can she have it like pop up on the screen here of the love bug?
Yeah,
Okay.
she is magical like that. We'll make it happen. Mike, we're
All right,
counting on
guys.
you. Get that video in.
Have a good week.
Gotcha.
All right, bye,
All
guys.
right, guys. Take
Take
care.
care. Bye.